In working with others, I keep my alignment. I'm thinking of the Christ-conscious aspect of where don't see the illness of another, only see the well-being or the wellness of another.
That's a little tricky too, isn't it? When you're interacting with someone who doesn't feel good or who has documented evidence of their misalignment, how do you get your attention off of that? I'm not going to look at that, I'm not going to look at that, I'm not going to look at that, I'm not going to look at that. How do you do it?
Right.
We're asking you, how do you do it?
By me staying in my alignment, by me being clear.
By you not needing that condition to change in order for you to feel good. Now hear this. We have not talked about unconditional love or unconditional alignment in this way in relationship to assisting someone else in finding their healing or their alignment. But feel how powerful this is. So you alluded to the story that we often tell. You're standing before someone like Jesus, there have been many of them, and you're dripping your illness, but he sees it not. Instead, he knows your wellness. Well, he didn't just do it just now. In the same way that, how do you get rid of doubt? Well, you do it before it gets there. Well, he got rid of doubt before you got there with your illness. He no longer worried about your well-being. He practiced your well-being before you showed up not in your well-being. So it was easy for him to keep his momentum of well-being regarding you going, because his momentum of well-being was going and you were irrelevant to his momentum of well-being. That's unconditional love. No condition is going to shake me from my knowledge of well-being, you see. That's enlightening, isn't it? So then you have to ask yourself, because as we were speaking to you earlier, we say you create your own reality. You don't create anyone else's reality. So certainly you're wanting to enhance someone's experience. You're wanting to help them to get what they want. But the best way to help anyone get what they want is to provide as much as you can the neutral zone around them, so that the source within them. In other words, here's the thing that we really want you to hear. Every single person is an extension of source energy. And every single person has source energy or inner being loving them, flowing to them and through them. And to varying degrees, you are letting it in or you're not. You're allowing it or you're resisting it. Esther asked the question just the other day, which brought this answer. We're going to give you the answer before the question, because we want you to really feel what we mean by this. Who is the you who is creating your reality? You create your own reality, but who is the you that is creating your own reality? And we want you to understand that you were you before you were you, and you, the you that was you before the you that was you, created the reality that is you, and now you're all in this together. In other words, the you that is you, 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 that is you. And so the you that is you in your physical body is sifting and sorting and asking for more. And the you that is source energy is knowing what is more and becoming it and projecting that forward through you. In other words, there are intentions and trajectories that you have set into motion. What we're getting at is, don't get too wrapped up in trying to control outcomes for others. Be unconditional in your flowing of pure positive energy and allow them to receive it and to respond to it and to utilize it in whatever way they choose. Because trying to control the conditions of others is the thing that keeps you from unconditional love more than all other things put together. You just can't think for another person, and you can't vibrate for another person. You can't be the point of attraction for another person. You can only be the point of attraction for you, you see. And so as you become your conscious point of attraction, and in doing so you're an open vessel that flows pure positive energy through. But here's what we really want you to hear. If source who is flowing it to them isn't getting through to them, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, you're loving them unconditionally. In other words, you're beaming the satellite a little closer. You're helping them in their expectation. You might even, with your positive attention, be distracting them from whatever it is that's bothering them. But you just have to accept that people have their own trajectory. and whatever it is all right. And if there was ever a subject where we want you all to find a way to be unconditional in your approach to life, it's in allowing others to create the reality that they're creating. You don't know their motives, you don't know their reasons, you don't know from which perspective it's being intended. In other words, humans, you have yourselves, we love you so much, all wrapped up in a big wad of resistance over the subject of death when there isn't even any of that. And so, just chill out, lighten up. Don't let things be so big. It's as easy to create big things as little things. It's as easy to create castles as buttons. It's as easy to create anything that you want. You just have to focus in a way that allows the energy to flow. That's all.
Right, right. So when they're asking me, when they come to me and say, hey, Scott, would you mind spending a little time? I've got this thing going on, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Those are good words.
Yeah.
Those are really general words.
Yes.
In other words, say to them, tell me in 3 words how you're feeling. And I prefer these words, blah, blah, blah. We're not kidding. We're not kidding, because anything that keeps you from focusing on something will keep you in a place where you are in a greater place of assisting them. The more the doctors know about you, we love them too, the more diseases you produce for them. You noticed? This is a time of great evolution of technology and medicine, and yet there are more diseases on this planet than there have ever been.
Right. Yeah.
Because you just keep pleasing the doctor who's looking for them.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you look for stuff, you always find it. And so what you want to say to those who are looking to you is, well, these are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for good feelings within you. I'm looking for happiness. I'm looking for signs of feeling good. I'm looking for deep breaths. I'm looking for bright eyes. I'm not looking for any problems. I'm not looking for any problems. So just don't point those out to me, and it'll be easier for me to look for what I really want to look for and amplify within you. Because most people believe you got to find a problem, then you got to wrestle it to the ground and kill it. So let's pinpoint exactly what's wrong, and then let's send laser stuff at it and kill it. Let's cut it out. Let's chop it off. Let's blast it with something. Let's get rid of it. And we say, nothing is further from the way the laws of the universe work. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
So what I need to do when somebody wants to talk their story, they're in a lower disc, is to simply ask them, hey, tell me some positive things about what's going on for you, or do I need to just say I need to walk away?
Pretty soon they'll stop coming to you,
right,
because
okay.
they want a sounding board. And so that's why we're saying it's a sort of a gradual process for you first and then for them, because the reason that they're coming to you is because there's something that's being reflected back. So as you begin holding yourself in vibrational alignment with what you mean, in other words, what is anyone for anyone else? Let's talk about this, because you are valuable to each other, and you are co-creative. You are of value to each other. There is benefit in your co-creating. So let's talk about how the greatest value can be realized by you and for others. So if it is true, and it is, that everyone is an extension of source energy, and if it is true, and it is, that everyone has access to this stream, then isn't it logical that the reason that someone might be clear in a moment as compared to someone who might be confused is because the one who is confused has got some hindering vibrations going on? So how can you help a confused person? We're deliberately using the word confused. How can you help a confused person? If you say, tell me what you're confused about, and they begin telling you this litany of confusing things, and you try to keep up with them, before you know it, you are going to be as confused as they are. You have to sort of tune that confusion out. And so the less detail, the more likely you are to maintain your clarity. So then, what influence does a clear-minded person have over a confused person? In other words, Can you help someone who is confused become more clear? Well, you certainly can. But you have to control the vibrational environment. So you can't talk to them about their confusion without joining them. They're controlling the vibrational environment then. So to maintain, that's why you want to go away for 11 days. There's less confusion. In other words, it's easier for you to line up with what you've got going on. It's easier for you to find vibrational alignment. So what we're saying is, find it before you go in there. So you walk in with it. If you don't walk in with it, you don't have a chance. But if you walk in with alignment, with clarity, then it's not what you say that will evoke something from them. It's that, you see, one who's connected to this stream of well-being is more powerful than millions who are not. So when you walk in with that kind of clarity, you will elicit clarity from everywhere you are. When you are clear, you get clarity from people who have never been clear before. And when you're confused, you'll attract confusion from people sometimes who are not used to that much confusion. Have you ever seen a whirlwind just walk into a place and just sort of mess up the energy wherever they are? Won't happen to you if you are in alignment, but you see it all the time. Okay, here it is. Whatever vibration has the most momentum, it sort of carries the day. Momentum, when you are in alignment with Source, is exponentially so powerful. There's a leverage in that that is indescribable. So you have to say to yourself first and foremost, yes, I want to help you. Sure, I do. I do. I really do. We can feel that in you. You really want to uplift and be of value. But you can't sacrifice your own alignment in order to do that, because then you've got nothing to give anybody anyway. So that has to be first and foremost. Esther sat on the airplane yesterday. She was flying Southwest. She had an aisle seat, 2 people sitting next, and a very nice woman said, "My daughter's coming on after. Do you mind if we take these 2 seats and save this seat for my daughter?" And Esther said, "Of course, I'll put my purse there, and maybe others will avoid it as they walk by." So soon her daughter sat down. And Esther said hello and went back to reading what she was reading. And then, because Esther's very nosy about everything around her, she can hear them talking. And the young woman, a grown woman, she was clearly a college student, began talking about her roommate who, in her words, plans her next vacation before she even finishes the one she's on. And doesn't pay for any of it. Someone else gives her these vacations. And she brought so much with her there wasn't room for anybody else's things in the dorm. And she has never seen anyone as spoiled as this person. And Esther sat there. She leaned away a little bit because the resentment was sort of getting all over her. And then Esther thought, now I'm doing with you what you're doing with your friend, because your friend is making you feel jealous because she's thriving and pointing out you're not thriving. And Esther wanted to say to her, you can't get there from there. You can't get to what you want. And clearly you want it, otherwise you wouldn't be feeling so much resentment about not having. In other words, there were books. Esther wished that she just had all her books. Read this, read this, read this, read this. Read them in this order. And then Esther thought, this is a good opportunity for me to practice unconditional love. So she put on her earphones, put her neck pillow around her neck, and went away for 11 days. She sort of just withdrew from the... In other words, it takes focus. We're not saying that you can engage in this world and not be affected by the vibrations of it. And especially when you're engaging with your lovers or your mates or your children or the people that you care so much about, your clients, your friends, your patients, we get it. That as you're engaging, you got to focus. But you have to have decided before your engagement how you want to feel, and you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to hold yourself in the place of alignment. That's it. That's just it.